Hey there, everybody, I'm Mr. Game Pie, and we're back with more Asagao Academy. And, yeah, we woke up next morning with what felt like a lizard. Everybody loves lizards. Isn't that right, Renee?
Oh yeah. Girls love lizards.
Yep. Mai was already up, shuffling through her school bag with an enigmatic grin. The first day of school.
Hana! Hana, you're finally awake.
Her voice sliced through the air like a knife, and I winced. She was definitely a morning person.
Yeah, that's the exact opposite of me.
Yeah, me too.
It's time for the first day of school. Aren't you excited? I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. What do you mean? Is something special happening today? Something strange always happens on the first day of school, especially to someone like you.
She winked.
What?
Someone like me?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean.
She smiled and started messing with a pile of papers on her desk. Shaking my head, I got out of bed and pulled my uniform out of my closet. My palms sweat as I held the gold vest and blue jacket. Was it really possible for things to be different here than they were at home? What if the problem wasn't actually the school? I shook the thoughts out of my head and changed into my uniform.
Aw, poor Hana.
Yeah.
Oh! What is it?
Aww.
You look so cute.
Aww.
Really?
My best friend, my.
Yeah.
Really?
Heat crept up my neck. Wow, that was a surprisingly difficult sentence to say.
Yes, completely. Your hair matches your uniform so well. You look like a flower blooming straight out of the ground. Thank you.
Water stung the back of my eyes, and I turned to start packing my backpack. Why was I getting worked up about something as little as this? I must have gotten less sleep than I thought.
Oh, Hana. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm just happy.
How dumb was that? I started crying at the first sign of someone being nice to me. I took a deep breath to steady my nerves. What an oddly menacing lag thud! All of the air left my lungs as something like horse hooves slammed against my back.
You'll do just fine. Don't worry, this is gonna be awesome.
I stiffly peered over my shoulder.
That was you?
What?
Mai stood behind me, her hand raised. Somehow, she had the strength of a bodybuilder.
Nothing.
I was just about to zip my bag up when I spotted the book Satch gave me lying on my nightstand. The Princess Betrothed. He said that if I ever needed to be transported somewhere far away, I could take it with me. It was pretty good so far. Maybe it would be smart to bring it along, just in case I had no one to talk to between class periods. Would I need it for my first day of class? Alright, so here we have one of the first important decisions of the game. Basically, throughout this whole introductory segment, we will be essentially deciding who will be available for us to date at a later point in time, wherein the various stories branch off. And so in this case, this determines whether or not we will be able to date Satch later on. So if we take it, we can. If we leave it behind, he won't even be an option. So for me, I'm going to take it. I put it into my already overfull bag, biting my lip. It never hurt to be prepared, right?
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Stick with me and you'll be fine.
Mai opened the door and together we stepped into the hallway, merging into a steady flow of chittering girls and fruit-flavored perfume.
Oh my, I did not know we lived on the same floor. No way, really? That's so awesome. Now we'll be able to catch up. Whatever happened with you and...
The river of girls shifted as we headed down the stairs. Suddenly, I found myself surrounded by a bunch of people I didn't know.
What a jerk.
Oh wow, what a jerk he turned out to be.
Mai's exclamations faded into the buzz of voices in the air. Oh no! What would I do if we got separated? Anxiously, I searched the crowd of girls for Mai, but I couldn't find her. Everyone was dressed in the same Asagao uniform. It was difficult to tell anyone apart, and being so short really didn't help the situation. As we turned the last corner down the stairwell, I saw a flash of red hair a little ways in front of me.
Mai?
I reached between two girls and tapped her on the shoulder.
Huh?
No, Renee, you gotta give her the robotic voice.
No, I can't do that.
What if I do the robotic voice then?
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Oh,
Who are you? The girl's eyes flashed, almost like a jolt of electricity shot through them.
I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else.
She said nothing and turned away. Before I knew it, I stood outside the Primrose House, watching the flow of girls disperse across the campus. Mai was nowhere to be seen. I couldn't even hear her chirpy voice.
Oh, man.
I took a deep breath, biting my lip. This wasn't a big deal. I could go to class alone. But I didn't even know where the building was! I reached in my backpack and dragged out my class schedule. Homeroom. 206 Poppy Hall? Poppy Bird Jr.? Which one was Poppy Hall again? Weren't the classrooms on the other side of campus?
Oh, no.
She is so confused. Then
Poor
again,
Nana.
I can empathize. My sense of direction is terrible.
Mine's okay sometimes.
Yeah. I picked a direction and began to walk, trying to ignore my rising panic at the thought of arriving late to the first day of class. As a third year, where no one knew me, all the people staring...
Hey!
Hey, you okay? You look a little lost! Someone called out to me, and I turned around, almost jumping for joy. When I froze. A Normal Boots jacket! He was part of the Normal Boots Club! I could
Oh.
practically feel my tongue swelling in my mouth. If this was a Normal Boots Club member, I had to make a good first impression. Or good impression in general. He was one of the founders, right? Then he must be JonTron!
Oh, boy. Yes. I'm new, so I don't know where Poppy Hall is.
You a freshman? No problem. My class is in Poppy Hall. I'll walk you there.
Really?
Really? That would be wonderful, thank you.
Was this really happening? He
I
began
don't know,
walking.
was it?
Yeah. He began walking towards a large brick building in an enthusiastic manner, pumping his arms up and down like he was in some kind of show tune. I fell into step beside him. I didn't notice it when Mai pointed him out to me yesterday, but JonTron had big brown eyes and a warm-looking face. He was basically a human puppy. I glanced up at him out of the corner of my eye.
Ah,
A bird! A bird on his shoulder! Birds always made me uncomfortable. Something about the ease with which they could poke out someone's eyes. You know, notably,
Someone
birds
never-
don't really like me that much.
someone never played Hatful Boyfriend.
Oh no. I'd probably be terrible at Paddleful Boyfriend then.
That game is awesome.
Yeah, I hear that's the case. Is something wrong? Why'd you stop?
No, nothing's wrong.
He followed my gaze to the bird on his shoulder.
Hey!
Oh, that's Jack! Isn't he cute? Nice to meet you.
It spoke?
Yeah! He put his hand to his shoulder. Jack jumped into his palm. Jack is a robotic bird, see? Hello. Jack's eyes gleamed a dangerous red when he spoke, but nothing else suggested he wasn't a normal bird. In fact, if I hadn't known better, I would have said the red in his eyes was painted on.
That's amazing.
Jock twitched his head to the side, examining me in return. The more he looked at me, the less afraid I was. What are you looking at?
What?
What? Nothing. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Jock can be a little sassy. Who are you calling sassy? I am not the sassy one. I don't forget to feed you. Jock, that was one time. I was alone and starving in the frozen tundra of this empty world, loveless, afraid. Ignore him. I've been bringing him with me to drama club, and he's taken a little too well with it. I see how this is. Shut me out like I have nothing to add to the conversation. Jock retook his place on John's shoulder, this time facing away from us as if miffed. We resumed our walk towards Poppy Hall. I'm JonTron, by the way. Call me John.
Hana, nice to meet you.
Anna.
Hana? That's a cute name.
Thank you. So, how long have you had Jock?
Since middle school. We've been together for 4 years now. Ain't that right? I'm not listening. Yeah, well, I love him to death. I don't know what I'd do without him. It seemed like life would be a lot easier without him, but who was I to say? We arrived at the brick building. A white sign surrounded by poppies declared it to be, unsurprisingly, Poppy Hall. Which room are you in?
Room 206.
Really?
Seriously?
Yes?
That's my homeroom. We're in the same class. John laughed and clasped me on the shoulder. Wonderful. I guess I'll be seeing more of you then, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Together, we entered Poppy Hall. Poppy Hall was lined with fluorescent lights and Asagao blue lockers. The lack of students smiling around in the hallway indicated we were a bit late. When we ran up the stairs and made it in the classroom just as the bell rang. My heart caught in my throat. Thankfully, the teacher hadn't come yet. Instead, students clumped into tight pods and milled around the classroom, catching up on vacation news.
John.
Thank you so much for showing me to class, John.
See you later.
No problem. I'll see you around. He waved and disappeared in the wiggling mass of students. I glanced around the room looking for an empty seat.
Hana.
Mai peeled herself out from between a cuddling couple.
What? Why was she...
I don't know.
Mai, what are you doing?
Look, she is a shipper. True and true.
She really is.
She's gonna ship everyone, Renee.
Of course she
Even
is.
the background characters who don't get, like, the character models. They get shipped as well.
Was that JonTron? Were you just talking to JonTron? Yeah.
Mai's eyes widened and I couldn't help feeling a little smug.
I realized I didn't know the way to class after you and I got separated, and he offered to walk me.
Mai emitted a highly pressurized squeal.
JonTron walked you to class? Oh my gosh, you have to tell me everything.
She grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me to an empty desk in the back corner of the room, right next to the window. So, yeah, they're actually in the anime seating position right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is the anime sitting position.
I mean, Mai knows all the tropes.
Yes.
She really does.
Yeah.
And the fourth wall means nothing.
She is the trope master. I have been bested.
I saved you a seat.
I slid in and took off my backpack, hooking it onto the side of my desk. I was a little bit worried the books inside were too heavy for the bag to handle, but so far it held up well.
Sorry we got separated, by the way. It can get a little chaotic sometimes. So, tell me, what happened? What did he say? What did he smell like? Does he have peach fuzz? Is it rough? Wait, what? These are very important questions I'm asking. You need to answer them. Was his hair super silky, or did it have the roughness of a dog's coat?
Before I could answer, the door to the front of the room slid open, and a tall woman strolled in. The class went quiet and obediently slid into their seats. My heart beat furiously, blood rushing through my ears.
Class?
Good morning, class.
The teacher's melodious voice swam through the room, calming the buzzing high of students back from break. My shoulders relaxed, and my fear ebbed away.
I am your teacher, Shizuka Sorry.
Wakahisa?
Wakahisa. You may call me Miss Shizuka.
Oh boy.
Oh,
The emphasis she placed on the word led me to believe that calling her Ms. wasn't a mistake she would take lightly.
Some of you might have noticed that we have a new student this semester.
A hail of murmurs passed through the class. Some people glanced at me. Nope, there was the fear again!
Would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
I nodded, stood, and slowly walked to the front of the room, counting my steps to make sure I wouldn't fall. I faced the class, took a deep breath to introduce myself, and noticed a familiar face in the crowd. There was John sitting with two other boys wearing Normal Boots club jackets. One of the boys, the tallest one, was staring at me, the barest of frowns on his face. Something about him seemed really familiar. Wait. He was PBG, wasn't he? The other founder of the Normal Boots Club? Suddenly, all the strength left my knees. What should I do? Why was he frowning? Was it possible that I had already made a bad impression on him? You had to be kidding me. If he didn't like me, what did that mean about everyone else? Wouldn't they follow his lead? I swallowed. The faces of the class began to congeal, forming one giant blob.
You moved from Amaririsu, right?
I nodded and swallowed again. Then, like a beacon of light, I noticed Mai smiling and giving me a thumbs up. That's right. What would Mai do in this situation?
Yes.
Probably not what you're gonna do. Not whatever you're
Transferred
gonna
from
do.
Amaririsu Public High School.
Well, I mean, you know, Hannah said that line, so I guess we can move on to the next one.
Oops.
I'm really excited to be here. I hope you'll all take good care of me from now on.
Hannah's voice is very adorable.
It really is. I cannot do this justice.
Well, I think you're doing an excellent job. I bowed my head to the class, and they clapped politely. When I looked up, PBG wasn't frowning, but he still seemed oddly confused. PBG hurt himself in confusion! Maybe he always looked like that. I mean, you know, that's kind of a reasonable description of him, I think.
Thank you. You may be seated.
I returned to my seat, heaving a small sigh. The hardest part of the day was over. Shizuka began to talk about standard procedure for the semester. The rules for classes, when homework was due, and that sort of thing. It was all very similar to my old school, and I spaced out in spite of myself. A brief flicker of movement caught my eye. PBG again. I glanced at him, and his head snapped back to the blackboard. What was his problem? Class continued on like that until finally the bell rang, and it was time for lunch. Mai stretched her arms over her head and yawned.
Man, I hate the first day of class. Oh, it's so boring. Weren't you looking forward to it this morning? Something about exciting things happening? Well, yeah, but it already did. You met JonTron, didn't you? Now I've got nothing left to look forward to.
She sighed.
Oh my. You're hoping for so much
Yep.
out of one day.
Yep.
Calm. Please chill.
Have a calm.
Just go get a glass of water and it'll all be okay, Mai.
Satisfy the thirst.
Oh, that'll never end with Mai.
Oh no, definitely not.
Oh no, was hoping to see Jared before class, too.
She slouched and fell across the front of my desk. It seemed like this would be happening a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Jared really that hot?
Hannah, how dare you question his hotness?
How dare.
Mai's
How dare you
head...
question mine?
Yeah, that too. Mai's head snapped back up, her eyes flashing.
What did you say? If you stare directly at him for too long, your nose will melt off. I've seen it happen. What? Anyway, let's head to lunch. I'm super hungry. Oh.
I looked at my backpack. It held up well throughout class, but I worried that if I didn't take some of my stuff out now, I might do some permanent damage to it. Especially with Satch's book in there. I couldn't exactly afford a new backpack.
I need to put something in my locker first. But if we don't go now, they'll run out of sesame seed buns. Oh. That's okay. I'll just go on ahead. Come find me, okay?
Alright.
I was so lucky to have someone like her as my roommate.